Welcome to Dollars, Lifestyle, and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers. Romans and I are both money guys, but we're also gamers, so we wanted to put this pod together to help gamers like us with some of their tough money topics that can sometimes feel as hard as a Souls boss.
We're talking budgeting, saving, paying off debt, and how to not fall for all the traps life throws at you.
Grab a health potion and let's start stacking gold IRL. This is DLC, a finance podcast for gamers. Welcome to Dollars, Lifestyle, and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers. I'm Scruffy, this is Romans, and today we're going to talk about something that we're both really passionate about. Because if you were on Twitch this year and you made over $500, you do not have a hobby, you are a business, and you need to act like it. So today we're going to be talking about some of the specific things you need to do to stop treating Twitch like a hobby and actually operate the business like you're meant to as a business owner.
And I think this episode's meant for those who actually want a future in content creation. If you really have your dream passion, you have your job that you love to do that feeds your family and all that, and Twitch is a legit hobby, then this episode isn't for you. But maybe you're the opposite, where you do have your full-time job, but you don't like it. You wish you weren't doing it. You wish you were streaming. You wish you were alive right now, even as you listen to this podcast. This episode's for you. So we're here for the
Yeah.
latter. And yeah, welcome everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it. I think that one of the things that I've seen a lot of people approach this that is wrong is their mindset is wrong. As I've seen a lot of people that they start streaming and they're like, I'm just going to do this as a hobby until miraculously my stream blows up, I get super popular, and then I can go full into streaming and like make it my business. That's not going to work. If you are, this is something I say with my clients even when I'm talking about things, but like if you're mismanaging and treating 5 viewers like a hobby that could come or go, what's going to be different when 500 viewers come? Like you need to be ready for when those 500 viewers do come to be able to treat them well, make sure that you have a very inviting stream, you're engaged with chat, you're really on it with your gameplay, whatever is going to make you different. You need to start now. If you want this to be successful, you need to start having that mindset of this is a business. What can I do now to be improving this for the long term?
I was listening to a podcast about, not podcast, a YouTube about pressure washing, and I'll get back to you if that turns into something. Even you, Scruff, you're like, what are you doing? But what a great quote in it. It says, don't let perfection be the reason you stop doing good. Or what? Don't let
Mm,
perfection stop you from executing on good. And what that quote was about is a lot of folks in any business, you watch millions of videos. When do you hit the go live button? And I think when it comes to
mm,
streaming, it's the same thing. I've heard it just this past year. Someone said to me, I want to be a full time streamer, but I'm only going to stream 1 hour every couple weeks until I feel comfortable streaming. And my whole, when you said that, I was like, I'm going to keep it cool. I'm not going to lose my lid. But you will never be good at something if you don't do it. So maybe you don't have the
yeah.
best mic. Maybe you don't have a good camera. Maybe you don't even know what game or content or community or any of that figured out. If you don't go live, stare directly into the camera, figure out how to not have RBF, which if you don't know what that stands for, I'll let you figure that out. But if you don't know how to look good on camera at all times, you're not going to get better only doing it sparingly. The best way to get good at it
Yeah.
is to actually go live, look into the camera, figure it out, and then the hardest part of all, watch it later. Watch what you just did, preferably sooner
Oh
than later,
gosh.
not a week later. Like go live for about 4 hours
Yeah.
and then force yourself to watch it. Maybe you don't have to watch the full 4 hours because you'll probably see the rhythms and the patterns and just fix all the easy mistakes. But anyways, all that to say, yes, if you just start it and think I'll take it serious once I hit burnt peanuts level, then I'll try. Then I'll take it seriously. And
Good luck.
yeah. Wow, we'll talk about a dreamer. Good luck, absolutely. Oh man, so sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a real nugget of gold in there. What Romans just said is watch yourself back. Like this is something that for me, I do sound for my church. It's one of the ways I serve. And one of the things that I tell is we have a live stream that we mix live and do everything. So when I'm training new people to be on the soundboard and like learn how to do things, I always will say you have to listen back to what you did to hear what actually you did there, because when you're in the moment there's only so much you can actually glean from being in the moment, being doing, pushing the dials, adjusting things. But when you actually take some time to look back and listen to it, that's when you really start to develop your ear and your mixing style. It's the same for streaming. Like if you are sitting there watching yourself, it's going to be cringy. It's never fun to watch yourself on camera. Trust me, I'm a podcaster. I know it's super uncomfortable to hear my own voice when I'm watching my episodes. But if you're not entertained watching yourself, what's going to make anyone else click on you and stick around? Like if you're not even entertaining for yourself. And so that's something I really wanted to key in. I think that's something that if you're not doing right now, start doing that right now. Watch your VODs, watch back your streams, and see what you did good and do more of that. What you did bad, maybe you can adjust and take some notes on yourself and use those to improve for next time.
So before we get into practical tips, I wanted to talk over one quick mistake that I think a lot of people make. For me specifically, I have two extreme dreams. One of them, I actually, as a kid, I wanted to be president of this country. As a kid, this is way back. This is like Reagan era, and then all the presidents after him. So don't. I'm not some person in the last two presidents or quite something, but I wanted to be president. But you know another goal I wanted to be? I wanted to be a professional comedian, a legitimate comedian. And I'll tell you one of the and now as an adult, Nate Bargatze. Nate Bargatze
Mm,
is probably one of my more favorite comedians. But you know what I know about myself that is very true that I know about myself? I could spend the next 10 years and I will never be a Nate Bargatze because I just don't have his
yeah.
style of humor. I love the way he tells jokes, but he's a great example where just because you love someone's style doesn't mean you have to then take it. Because right now, if you ask me who's your favorite comedian, I would say it's Nate Bargatze.
Hmm.
But I would never then say I'm gonna emulate his style. I'm gonna tell jokes the way he does it. Because
Yeah.
I was raised in the Jim Carrey era, so I have no talent like Jim Carrey, but
Mm,
my I honestly think my style of comedy is closer to Jim Carrey than it would ever be to Nate Bargatze. So I just want to throw that out there. As streamers, you're like, you know what? I want to be the next queso. One, you're not even fat, and two, you can't handle fat jokes, and three, you're not even bad at video games. You're actually good, and four, you don't like horror games. Like there's so many reasons why you'll never be queso. Yet just because queso's
hmm.
queso, and maybe you love watching queso, you think he's funny. Yeah, if you don't look like queso, how can you even attempt to follow his style? Because his specific style is all about I'm fat and I don't care what you say. I'm gonna meme it up and I'm really funny because he's actually super funny. My opinion,
He is hilarious.
He's our version of Chris Farley. If there was a
Yeah.
Chris Farley, he's figured out the next generation of it, the next iteration. All right, so good. So now we're in a mindset where you're gonna take it seriously. You don't care whether they have 5 viewers, 500 viewers, 500,000 viewers. You're giving your all every time you go live. You're giving the best version of you that you can portray over the long haul. That you're not some one trick. You're not an OTP one trick pony player. You only play a certain style. You're only a Luna main. You gotta be able to play other styles to be a well. Oh.
That felt targeted. And you know I don't only play Luna, by the way. You know this because I diffed you on tank.
Okay, okay. That was mostly a fun little poke. All right, moving on.
All right. But yeah, so we want to go through a couple practical things that you can do to structure yourself as a business. And the first, and I think probably most important thing to do is to have a separate account for all of your streaming finances, whether it's a bank account, whether it's a PayPal account. That is incredibly important. Even if you're not moving that much money in and out of it, there's a couple of reasons this is really important. Number one, and in my opinion, probably the most important, is taxes. It is so helpful to be able to have one account that you can just say, this is what I spent on business expenses. I'll give you an example. The first year, or actually second year, I was in business myself. One of the things you can deduct is business lunches. So when you take people out to eat, you can deduct 50% of it as a business expense. I use my personal debit card for every single one of those lunches. So in March, I had to go through 12 months of transactions from my debit card and parse out, like, okay, this was a business lunch. And I think this was a business lunch. Maybe did I go to Chick-fil-A that morning with that client? I can't remember. And no joke, it took me 4 days to go through all of those transactions and parse those out. If you're doing the same thing with, like, your Steam games, if you bought a game specifically to play on stream, that's a business deduction. Like, you can legitimately deduct that from your practices. But do you really want to have to go through all of your purchases on Steam and say, like, okay, yeah, that was just for fun. Oh, that was a Luna skin. Oh no, that was for streaming, I'm pretty sure. And it gets really complicated. With PayPal, they make it super easy. You can have a PayPal debit card, and the money goes in there, and you can use it to buy things, and that is it. You can take your salary, quote unquote, your salary out of there to pay yourself. It just makes things super clean. And you may feel like you're small enough, you're only making a couple $1,000s. It's not worth it. I promise you, starting now and building those habits now, while it's easy to keep track of things, while it's easy to start, is going to save you a lot of headache on the back end, when you're actually having to parse through a lot of transactions in the future.
I'm going to. You said it's the most important. I'll tell you it's another. I'll tell you why you should separate it. And I thought you were going to say this, and you didn't. Fraud. I think the
Oh,
biggest
yeah.
reason to separate it is fraud. That you are putting your way of making money. You're putting how to receive money from the internet on a specific account. And for that very reason, I would separate it. And this is more about the intake. When you're receiving money from folks, and you get those fraud charges as well. People will say, "Oh, I gave you a big donation," and it's a scam. They'll immediately cancel the donation. And if it's in the same account you spend money on, and for some reason someone pranks you like that and takes the money back, you can be up a really bad creek. So even
Mm-hmm.
1000% agree with you. I was just surprised. Number one, though we can't have nice things because there's bad people on the internet. So because of the bad people on the internet, separate how you receive from money from how you spend money. And
Yeah.
really, I'm sure we'll get into how to allocate your funds, but the way you spend money should be in a working. After you've been doing anything long enough, you know how much it costs. There's an average
Yeah.
that you're a burn rate. In business terms, it's your monthly burn rate. Now, on average, you will spend X dollar amount every month. That's how much you need in your business account for paying for
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So if you spend 1,000 every month, why would you have 5,000 in that debit card for business account? If you only spend a
Mm-hmm.
thousand for sure every month, the other 4,000 is just rotting there, not earning any interest. And we've a
Yeah.
bunch of other episodes where Scruffy can get you somewhere, whatever the percent, 10% on the 4,000 annually. 10% on $4,000, $400. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're listening to this and you would like $400, don't let it sit in an account doing nothing.
Yeah.
People always tell you like when you built your business, what was the coolest thing about you? My coolest thing is my hardest worker was money. My hardest working
Mm-hmm.
employee
Yeah.
was my employed money. So I'd say to you, is all of your money working? And if they're on vacation, why? Money is the one thing that never needs to go on vacation. Allocate it correctly, and don't let the
Yeah.
fraudsters take it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of it too. I think Yeah, especially if you're in the public eye, it's if your information's out there, it's very easy for you to become a target. So having things separate is really, really smart. Kind of in that same vein, is something to consider is an LLC or an LLP, depending on what you're setting up. What that is limited liability corporation or limited liability partnership. And this is really helpful to completely separate your business from you. And generally, this is something you don't necessarily want to do right away, right when you're just getting started. But when money starts coming in and it starts to be meaningful to you, it's something you want to investigate doing because if you're running it as a sole proprietorship, you're running your stream as a sole proprietorship. If something happens, uh, if it's all put together in one place, you are liable on top of your business. With an LLC or an LLP, only the business can be held liable for anything. So that what that does is it puts a lot of protection around you, your family, and your other assets. So like if something happens to your business and you owe someone a ton of money, they can't go after your house or where you live or your other job or whatever it is. It is it's not super expensive, but it does require some money to get set up. But to watch your back and make sure you're protected, it's worth doing.
And we should probably another caveat: if you're doing streaming just to get paid, get that greens, get that money, stop streaming because
Yeah.
very few streamers make any real money streaming, but the ones who figure it out make tons of money. And so
Hmm.
most streamers will tell you it's luck, but I'll tell you it takes real skill, intentionality. But I will tell you, if your major driver to streaming is you want to make tons and tons of money, I would actually advocate stop streaming. You should be streaming for other reasons, community. You love the voice that you have in a specific community and feel like others need to hear it. You enjoy the idea of being an influencer streamer. You love the impact you'll have on the world through what you have to say on topics.
Hmm.
And then finding out what slice of the pie, because I could talk about all kinds of things. I could talk politics, I know nothing about it. I could talk about cars, I know little about it. I could talk about, I don't know, how to build an airplane. I know nothing. So you should probably talk about things you actually either truly love, that other people love,
Hmm.
or you are passionate about, but you don't know much about, but you want to learn more, or you're absolutely cracked at a video game, or you're actually funny. You have some
Yeah.
kind of lean to you that's very burnt peanutty, but it's your own version of that pie. Those are the reasons you should be streaming. So just a quick caveat, because most of our stream is about how to treat your stream like a business. The whole this episode is about treating like a business. But just a quick caveat: please don't do this because you want to make money, and that's your
Yeah.
number one reason. Terrible reason to stream.
Yeah. Because it's going to take a lot of work and a long time to get anything going to. Like, streaming is not a good money making scheme. You should start a different business if that's your sole goal. I completely agree. And one of the other like practical tips I think that people need to be aware of is track everything. Don't just like wait until you get your Twitch payout and be like, okay, yeah, this is what I made. Track your bits, track your subs, track your ad revenue. You want to, if you get sponsorships or donations, people giving to your Ko-Fi account. I will continue to call it Ko-Fi because that is correct. You want to track everything to make sure you know exactly where your revenue is coming from. This is something that's just kind of a general good principle in business is you want to know where your revenues are coming from. What are your revenue driving activities? Where are people wanting to do? Like if you have something that is redeemable for bits and people keep doing that, maybe you should look into other redeems and things like that. If people love your emotes, you have the best emotes on Twitch and everyone wants to be able to spam them everywhere, continue to build that so you have people that are subbing to you so they can use your emotes. Find out what is causing people to spend money on your channel and lean into that.
I think also when it comes to streaming, it's erratic, irrational, and it's not month to month. In any other business, if you're flipping burgers or selling tacos or pressure washing or whatever, there is an ebb and a flow. There's a busy season and there's a slow season. When it comes to streaming, you might make $500 on just your on bits. Like somehow someone in your channel was moved by something that happened and threw a lot of bits at you. So then in the month of February, like, oh my goodness, I need to do more to get more bits in March. You need to really take a moment to understand why that happened, if you can figure out why. Sometimes you don't know why. And you can't control the
Mhm.
spontaneity of the internet. There are people who just love to give money at certain times on streaming, and they will just give you hundreds of dollars. Just yesterday, a buddy of mine got a $4,000 PC just
Oh my
streaming.
god.
He just said in the chat he's a longtime streamer. People know him and respect him, but he's not a big streamer. He's very small. He's a homie. And someone he needed a PC because his PC is slowly on its deathbed. And randomly someone gave him a $4,000 PC. I'll tell you that took history and time. He probably poured into whoever this person is for years, and that person heard a need that they could meet, and they met that need. And
Yeah.
so don't think next month I'm okay. So I got a $4,000 PC in February. I'm gonna get another $4,000 PC in March. That's just not how streaming works. And you can't say to yourself, "Well, I
Yeah.
made 4,000 in February, so I'm gonna at least make 4,000 in March." Another stupid thing you shouldn't say, because
Mhm.
in this situation, it came in by a blessing from someone on the internet. Whereas I have
Yeah.
another friend, a Call of Duty streamer, #1 TikToker. He's making some number over 10,000. I was about to say the exact number, but for the sake of the internet, I will say he's making he's making 10,000 a month playing Call of Duty on Twitch. Now his difference is he makes 10,000 every month, and he made 10,000 9 months in 2025, and I'm sure I haven't checked lately, but I'm sure he's making a very good number in February and January. And this is all made up, so you won't know the real number. But anyway, and so in his case, yes, you made 10,000 last in February. You'll likely make 10,000 in March because there's a proven track record. You can see it. You have
Mhm.
6,000 subs or 3,000 subs, whatever the number is. That it's 3,000. So you have 3,000 subs. That's how you get to 10,000. But
Mhm.
just be have some thought as to why the money came in. And sponsorship deals, right? Sponsorship deals come and go. Whatever's hot thing is on there
Yeah.
and you want to go after it, go after it. But you can't count on that sponsor deal being there next month, unless it's Raid Shadow Legends. Okay, moving on.
Do they even advertise anymore? Well,
It's a more of an
I
out.
pay for YouTube, so I
It's
don't
more.
get ads anymore.
They still do, but it's more of a meme at this point because at one
Okay,
point they
good.
just went super hard. Everyone, if
Oh my
you were a
gosh.
real
Every single
yeah,
video.
yeah. If you were streaming on the internet, Raid Shadow Legends was giving you money to do something. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I remember that. You could not boot up YouTube or Twitch without this video has been sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends and the new champion, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
It was awful. But yeah, it's interesting. Every when you're running a business, every month is a completely new month. Especially when you're getting something started. You're starting something new. Like you have no clue what you're doing and you find things that are successful, and you maybe what you're doing is not the reason for success. Maybe it was luck, maybe it was just a blessing, like you don't know. But you have to treat every single month as an entirely new month and continue to grind, continue to work hard, and continue to give your best at what you're doing. Just because you hit X amount of subs or X amount of dollars for this Twitch payout does not mean you have achieved your goal. You still have to hit that goal next month too.
Oh man, one quick more of a like a dig. I don't like how Epic Fortnite codes work, and I learned last year they
Uh,
expire. If you don't hit the certain minimum, you lose your progress. So, just a quick shout out for all the revenue streams you have. Make sure you understand how it works, because you can expire. Imagine you have to hit payout windows. Twitch has it too. You have to hit certain minimums for a payout because they don't want to give a payout for $6. That's not worth it for their time.
mm-hmm.
But there's certain other campaigns, uh, sponsorship deals, Fortnite, your codes, Epic Fortnite code. Just understand the fine print, because I've seen the horror stories where someone missed a payout by a couple bucks, and it's sad. It's that you did all that. You worked so hard, and you get zero for it. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a gut punch, and it's because you didn't read the fine
Yeah,
print. So understand the deals you make with folks.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Another thing, if you're running a business, you need to understand how you're being taxed. It's not fun, it's not a sexy thing to talk about, but it's something you need to understand because if you screw it up, the IRS is the least forgiving organization in just about the entire world. And they're the only organization in the entire world that has the power to garnish your wages, which means you make $2,000 a month. No, you don't. The IRS takes 500 of that before you even see a penny now. Like that is, they are the only organization that has the power to do something like that. So it is something you must know.
I think taxes is the number one mistake of the new successful streamer. If you ever see someone go from
Oh
zero,
gosh.
like burnt peanut, I don't know if I'm sure. I hope someone warned him, but you can lose up to
Mm-hmm.
half of how much you made. And imagine you make $1 just for the sake of this conversation, and you spend that dollar, not realizing you owe 50 cents to the IRS, but you already spent
Mm-hmm.
that dollar. And you're like, where am I going to get 50 cents? Now, I know it's a joke, it's $1, but imagine now it's $1,000,000 or $1,000. Let's do 1,000.
Yeah.
That's big enough. And you do it wrong and not realize because of the state you're in. We live in a state of Florida, so we don't have certain self-employment tax that other places have. Actually, there's self-employment tax, but we don't have
Well,
the
we still have
corporate tax.
we
Yeah,
don't have state income tax. Yeah.
we don't have state income tax. And so imagine you're out there, you're in one of those expensive states, Washington, California, New York,
Oh Lord.
just to name a few. And
Move out of those states.
you
They're
could,
bad states.
yeah, you could owe up to 50% if you're not careful after all the late fees and interest hit you. And you already
Mm-hmm.
spent it. You made 1,000, you spent 1,000. You were supposed to give 500 to the IRS, to the state of Washington, to
Mm-hmm.
California, New York, the municipality, and you spent it. Oh man, I always
Yeah.
I whenever I meet someone who, if they said this is their first year making a lot of money, uh, usually I don't meet them as they're making money. That rarely occurs. So a year after, and I ask them how'd it go, they're like, oh man, I'm still recovering. I didn't know how taxes work. Oh god.
Yeah.
But how do you tell someone? How do we tell people on the brink of making tons of money? We can't. You're not gonna. You're probably high in the sky, living the best life, and you have no idea. The IRS and all the
Mm-hmm.
little governments, and and tragic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important. So some things that you need to keep in mind if you are a streamer, you are immediately you make money and you owe self-employment tax, which is 15.3%. Before you pay any of your, just general income tax, you will always owe 15.3% in self-income tax. And that is not like that doesn't apply to your deduction, anything like that. Like you must pay that every single year. I remember my first year in business. I did not realize that. I was expecting to get a refund because I was still in my master's program and I was using the American Opportunity Tax Credit. I was expecting to get money back, and my taxes did not go down a single cent because it was all self employment tax that I owed. And that was a rude awakening. Also, I believe it's made once you start making over like $10,000 to $20,000, the IRS wants you to make quarterly estimated tax payments. So every 3 months, you have to estimate what your taxes are going to be and pay the IRS. Otherwise, when you file in March or April, the IRS is going to stick you with a stupid tax penalty of, hey, you didn't pay we didn't know what you were going to owe us, so because you didn't tell us what we expected to be making, we're going to charge you a little bit of extra just because we're the IRS and we hate you.
I am. My name is Scruffy, and I don't like the IRS. I'll tell you, I don't know how they get away with knowing the right answer and making you have to guess how much. It's just such a
Oh
racket.
gosh.
You guessed wrong. You guessed wrong, taxpayer. You owe us more. I'm like, why didn't you just take it from the get go? If you knew the answer, Why are you making me tell you what I think the answer is when you know what answer you want to hear? It's almost like that girlfriend when you're in a fight, or the wife, and she's mad, and she's like, she gives you the look. You figure it out. I'm like, if you know why you're mad, why don't you just tell me? Why don't you just tell me? I feel like
This
that's
is Romans talking. This is Romans talking.
yeah, kiss it, IRS. Arr, arr. Yeah. Well, AI is
Yeah,
coming for you,
it's
IRS.
yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if AI can carry a gun yet, but the IRS can.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Oh gosh.
oh yeah. But we're joking about it, but it is very very serious. It's important that you take taxes seriously. Because I can tell you from experience, expecting a refund and then getting a bill sucks, especially if you were to be in a situation where you don't have money saved up and you get this bill and need to scramble to find a way to pay the IRS. Because, like I said before, they are just about the least forgiving person you will ever come across when it comes to money.
And because I have a license, you should seek professional assistance. You should not be asking or relying on this podcast for professional advice. Find a CPA or tax advisor for real tax advice. This stream is brought to you by fun and casual conversations. Because I just
Yes.
realized I don't know if I could actually just say whatever I want. Because I
Compliance, don't shoot us.
yeah. I had one more thing. I will say one quick hack though. If you make a mistake with the IRS once every 3 years, you can use the magic word of waiver of penalties and fines. I forgot. I think it's ooh man, I just forgot the words. A waiver of abatement waiver. Oh no, there's a secret phrase you can use with the IRS whenever you make a mistake every 3 years. It just fell out of my head. Shows you how often. When you don't make a mistake very often, you don't have to remember
And you're
waiver.
just so good at taxes.
Yeah, you can ask for first time abatement. Thank you, internet. If you make a mistake with the IRS, just call them up. Get if you can even get through today because they keep firing all their employees. No, you can't talk to someone. You just call them on the phone, talk to the IRS agent, give them all the right information. Usually your EIN, what type of corporate entity you are, which you should know whether you're a corporation, partnership, or sole proprietorship. Have that right answer ready to
Hmm.
go. Obviously, you'll say you're an LLC and they'll ask you what kind of type you are. After that, tell them, hey,
Yep.
I got a letter in the mail. Can I request a first time abatement? And just give reasonable cause that you are a dummy if you have it. And you don't actually need reasonable cause, but usually you just ask. Hey, you get a first time abatement. And you can do it once every 3 years. That's under the assumption that you're not screwing up every year. So there you go. That's your
Yeah.
magic hack. So take that, Opus. First time abatement. If you mess up with the IRS, say the magic words, first time abatement, call them up, and they will waive your mistake.
Huge.
Assuming it's one of the ones they're allowed to, because they're not allowed to do everything. But it is a saver of mistakers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's huge because that can save you some serious money on penalties. So,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So, one of the other things I wanted to talk about was profit strategy. And this is very much like general business principles. But if you're a gamer, you're a streamer, you probably don't necessarily think about it a little bit. We already talked about tracking everything, but you want to make sure that you know what is like your optimum strategy for making money, whether it's going to be Twitch payouts through subs, whether it's going to be sponsorships, whether it's going to be YouTube's like videos that you're making from your VODs, whether it's clips that you're going to be promoting to like get marketing and then get sponsorships on social media, whether that be Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. So you need to know exactly where you're good at and what you can lean into to be able to make money effectively. Some of this is going to be trial and error, just you experimenting, trying new things, um, and finding out what you enjoy doing, what you're good at doing. But this is really, really important because I was watching a video, I think it was an Asmongold video or something like that. But he was talking about how he will never go live if he's not already have a purpose for a YouTube video that he's going to make because that's where his major revenue source comes from. So for you, maybe your major revenue source is is Twitch itself, and the clips and YouTube video is just to drive people to your live stream. I don't know what it is going to be for you. Maybe it's you have something behind a paywall with a Patreon or something like that. Like it all depends. But if you know where you shine and where most of your revenue is going to come, you can filter the rest of your presence to drive people to that location and get that higher.
And a quick correction, I think you meant Ludwig because I don't think Asmongold keeps any of his YouTube revenue. I think he lets his editors keep all the money
Maybe.
he makes. Yeah,
I forgot who it was. Maybe it was
yeah.
Ludwig.
If it's not Ludwig, it's someone else because I think Asmongold is his whole story about how he got an editor. Like I hope Reach Conference one day has a Asmongold thing. His whole story about how he's got his editor. If you don't know it, you should Google it. It's an
I
amazing
don't.
story. But that was
Hmm.
yeah. But if you're listening to this podcast, you don't know how Asmongold's YouTube channel became a thing. It is the stuff of legend. Just a random dude on the internet loved his content. And anyways, topic for another day. Yeah, so when it comes to making revenue on, if you're a new streamer, more than likely the number one way you're gonna make revenue on Twitch is subs and donos. It'll be more than likely donos at first, and then once you've built a community, the subs will come rolling in. And I would tell you just lean into it. Lean into the Twitch culture. If you've been paying attention, you see people doing coffee or the other equivalents to coffee and how to receive money. Uh, and all those other
Ko-Fi.
yeah, that one too, that other coffee website. So whether you use coffee or the coffee, whichever one you use to receive money, uh, just understand Twitch culture uses subs, donos, bits, scam trains, and that's just how Twitch works. Don't fight it, lean into it. It's part of the culture. People are used to it. And you either need to get on board or start your own Twitch website. Which good luck with that. Look at Kick; it's a poop show. Look at all the rest
Yeah.
that have died because Twitch is where it began and is where it reigns supreme. YouTube doesn't care; it makes
Hmm.
way too much money on its VODs to even bother with Twitch streaming. It allows it lets it to succeed, but it will not let. They don't care about beating Twitch because they know
Yeah.
live content is hard and spontaneous. There's a reason we don't even stream this because our lives are
Mm.
too busy for us to ever make it as streamers. We would have to intentionally carve out time, and we might actually figure it out someday. But you can't get off the stream train once you're on it. So what if
Yeah.
you're really gonna make it as a streamer? It's a 5 year minimum commitment without breaks, and most streamers break somewhere within the first year, if not the first year, within the first 2 years because they don't know how to pace themselves or what the plan is. They don't see the results they want to see. Like, where's my 50,000 viewers? I'm playing, World of Warcraft, some other garbage game. How come I don't have 50,000 viewers? And that's because that's not how this works at all. Arc Raiders is a completely different game from WoW Trash. And if
Mm.
you're not, it's apples to oranges. You know, you
Yeah.
can't play World of War Trash and think you're gonna make it just because obviously I'm not biased though. I am not biased. I think
Never been biased in the history of his life.
World of War Trash is clearly a good game. It's been around 20 years, makes $1 billion, and just because it makes millions of dollars means it's a good game. Okay, that's the main point in today's stream. Because the game makes millions of dollars, that means it's a good game. No, that's not true at all. But it does have a community. It's been around 20 years. It has its player base, and they keep iterating on a piling stack of poo. But that people love what they love. People love fried rice with just egg and soy sauce. That's not fried rice to me. That's just soy sauce and egg. But today in today's economy, thanks to COVID inflation, that passes as fried rice, and that's kind of where World of War Trash is these days. It passes as a
Mm.
game, even though, in my opinion, it's just soy sauce and egg. So, and if that's good enough for you as a
Yeah.
gamer, enjoy your fried rice.
All right. Now that Romans has stepped off his World of Warcraft soapbox, we can move on. So, one of the things that, for me specifically, is very important because of my job as a financial advisor If you own your own business, you are the only person who's responsible for saving for the future. Streaming is a really unique business. You can make a lot of money doing it, but there's also a cost to it that a lot of other businesses don't have. You cannot be a streamer and just sell your business to someone else because it's built around you. So, what a lot of people do that are business owners is they build up their businesses, they make a really successful business, and their retirement plan is selling their business. I don't know anyone who's ever done that before.
Crickets. Yeah, me either. Me either.
But,
Me either.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. But streaming is something you can't do that because if your brand is you, you can't just sell that to another person who's not you who can take up that brand. So it's really important for you to actually set aside money for retirement. We have a couple episodes out about like what are the best ways to do that. If you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. We're not going to go too deep into detail about that today, but it is really important that you know no one's going to save for retirement for you if you're a business owner. That is entirely on you. So you need to take the responsibility to get started.
There's only one streamer group I know that has successfully pulled off selling their brand to someone else and them doing well. It's a Twitch channel. I think it's called Streamer House. And I met the guys at TwitchCon. Very cool dudes, by the way. They've been doing it forever. But it's an interesting situation, and it's just so unique. Oh, I forgot they live nearby. I gotta visit them. Uh, they live in a nearby state. I gotta say hello. But yeah. So I think that yeah, the only one streamer I'm aware of out of all the streamers in the world that have been able to pull off, essentially selling your channel, if you will, and passing it
Hmm.
on and letting someone else run it, and you keep going. But there's so many unique things. Even they don't probably even qualify for that definition. They did a lot of unique things, but they're probably the closest thing. So yes, if you don't have retirement figured out, oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's important. So, and kind of last thing before we get into our closing is uh when is it time to go full send? And this is why Roman said what he said earlier is if the whole reason for you wanting to become a streamer is money, it's not going to be worth it because the money does not come right away. It takes a long time to actually do this. So if this is something that you're serious about, you're really passionate about it, there's a couple things that I would recommend to do to prepare for it because if you just jump into it with no savings, no plan, that is a recipe for disaster. So what I would recommend is if this is something that you're not currently doing or you're interested in doing, some things that you can do is start saving. Um, if you have a big pile of money, and big can be relative, a big pile of money can be what you need to live for 4 months. You know, it can be for 12 months if you think you're really going to give it a go and you can take that up. Whatever it is, like start saving and have money so that you can really give this your all because if you half-ass streaming, you're going to fail. That's just how it works.
I think the real journey as a streamer is you do have two paths. You're young, somehow you can still live at home. Maybe you have a spouse who makes all the money that you need to survive, and then you start full time right away. That's option A, and very few people can pull that off.
Hmm.
If you're under the age of 23, you might have a chance of doing that strategy, or you happen to marry a doctor or a lawyer or some spouse who
Yeah.
just absolutely crushes it. She's just making tons of money, or he, your husband or wife, whatever. The other option though is the slow grind, and that's where
Hmm.
you start. You have a day job, maybe it's full time, maybe it's part time, but you make enough doing something else so that you can do streaming as well. And you build off with you get start off with 2 to 3 viewers. If you start streaming at 0 0, I would tell you you're probably a bad friend to the world. You probably don't know how to make friends, and you don't know how to get folks who care about you to love your dreams to support you. And if you're starting at
Yeah.
true 0 0, I think it's a little quick inventory moment that do you really have a personality that draws friendships? Because that's really the magic of streaming is authenticity and building community.
Yeah.
And so I'd really caution, where are your friends at? Anyways, so, and you'll build it to 10 viewers, 20 viewers, 30 viewers, 40 viewers. But I would tell you a full time in streaming won't really be feasible unless you're around 100 viewers, even beyond Twitch partnership, because Twitch partnership is great and all at 75 viewers, but even that's not enough. Unless you happen to be in a very lucrative directory for some reason where people just love giving money. But for
Mm-hmm.
most folks, you're counting on sub counts. And so you probably need to get around 100 concurrent viewers because by then you probably are around 300 to 400 subs. And you're probably thinking right now, if you're listening to this, how's that possible? If you only have 100 viewers, how do you have 300 subs? And I'll tell you, because I think the average dedicated viewer is your most dedicated viewer is 1/3 of a real viewer. So you really
Mm.
actually need to get to 300 real viewers who actually only watch you 100 at a time any given moment. And that's why you have 300 subs. Obviously, there's folks who don't know and give. Not all of your most dedicated viewers even give you money. There's some folks who love your content but are just honestly broke. So they pay you in their time because
Mm-hmm.
they don't have the money. All that to
Yeah.
say, that's going to be where you can go full time. You'll know. You'll be somewhere between 50 and 100 CCV, and you know how much money you need and how tight you can keep it. But I will tell you, there's a point where you really know your content, you know your brand, you know your community, you know what you're doing on the internet, and you're not quite making it, but you know you're there. I I I would be the bold guy to say make the jump, because when you jump, you can take it serious. Your community knows you're serious, and you can step on the gas and go from 50 viewers to 200 to 300 to beyond. But I'll tell you, that's really safe for those who really know their content. And you know your content. And if you don't know, reach out to me, and I can ask you a few simple questions, and we can find out in under 15 minutes if you really know your brand and know what the heck you're doing on
Mm.
Twitch, and know if it's working. Like, it's sometimes hard when you're in the trenches to see what you look like. Don't worry, chat with me. I'll tell you what you look like because I'm very humble and polite and nice, and I'll tell you all. I'll tell it to you. I'll tell it to you straight. I'm too old to buy green bananas, and I'm too old to coddle you and tell you sweet nothings that just flatline your career. I only want the best for you, and so I will give you real, legit feedback if you're looking for it. If you want a yes man, say hello to Reddit.
Yeah. There you go. But I mean, just a sidebar on that, like if you're serious about like making it work, you need someone who's going to be in your corner and tell you what you can't see and the truth about like what you need to do and how you need to improve. That's why Reach exists, is to be able to be that resource. And Romans has built something really cool with that to be able to equip people that are serious about being a voice on the internet and utilizing that well. um, we're not here just because it's fun. We're here to be a tool to equip you to be able to use your voice in a way that you weren't equipped to do before.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So just a couple quick overview of things, big picture. This is what you need to be doing right now to get your mindset changed and start treating Twitch not just like a hobby, but like a business. Immediately separate your finances. It's going to help you with taxes and it's going to protect you from fraud. Give your business its own financial account, whether it's PayPal or a bank. Track your revenue. Actually watch what's going in and what's coming out of your accounts. It's really important. Make sure you're saving for taxes. Probably my recommendation is start saving somewhere between 20 and 30% for taxes. It's going to feel like a lot, but when it's time to pay the IRS, you're not going to get caught lacking. And then know your content. Know exactly what is going to drive more viewers to your channel, what's going to drive people to your videos, and focus in on that and perfect that so that you know exactly where you're going and you have a roadmap on how to get better.
What a great wrap up. Thanks, guys, for listening. What a great episode. That was fun.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Dollars, Lifestyle, and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.